Today, we come and vote for members of parliament, and then we vote for the presidencies. I come and vote for members of parliament to elect and then vote for the chief executives. I believe if we start to become more elect our municipal chief executives, enhance civic engagement, they'll become more within our constituency, and then enhance civic engagement. This will help within our constituencies, the needs of the constituencies, because this will help them to prioritize. An MMDC will come based on appointment from the president. Today, he will take office. An MMDC will come based on appointment from the president. Be important. He will take office. The constituents would want the key things that based on his priorities. Be important for that. The constituents would want speaking he based on his priorities decide otherwise. That the time is right. Speaking support we elect of the our municipal chief executive. The time is right that we elect our municipal chief executive.
Yes, Honorable
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you,
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Erikafu.
And let me thank the maker of the statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Wonderful one. The Speaker, and let me thank the maker of the statement. I remember in 2000, in the 7th Parliament, Speaker, this issue. I remember in 2000, in the 7th Parliament, the two sides, this issue cropped up, agreed that the two sides, the MMDCs, will be elected through the universal adult suffrage. The MMDCs will be elected. What mixed through the universal adult suffrage as to how, unfortunately, what mixed was the modality. I would like to add my voice to the call. How honorable member. That the Speaker, I would like to add my voice to the call. If you are not able to elect member, the MMDCs, that will be continue. If you are not able to elect to be the MMDCs, will be continue not to be responsible, to be not accountable for the citizenry, and not to be responsible. Mr. Speaker, for the citizenry, I would like to dwell on finance within their communities. Mr. Speaker, the MMDC on finance who is not elected through the universal adult suffrage. The MMDC controls all the finances who is not elected within the through the universal adult suffrage. Controls all the finances within the assembly. The MP who has been elected, all the finances with the assembly through the universal adult suffrage. The MP who has been elected, the finances of the through MP the universal adult suffrage. MMDCs. The finances of the MP is controlled by the MMDC within the various communities. That continue to give a lot of problems. To be specific, within the various let me say that. The Speaker, to be specific, the District Assembly Common Fund, let me say that, all the 100% goes to the Assembly. The District Assembly Common Fund, the 5% of it, all the 100% goes to the Assembly, which belongs to the MP. The 5% of it by the MMDC, which belongs to the MP. It's to control. What the MP can do is that the MMDC can only, recommend. What the MP can do to the MMDC is that can only, I want to recommend, make a proposal to the MMDC that the MMDC will give. That is all. That will agree. Either the MMDC on the powers of the MMDC. That will agree. The Speaker will not agree. Depends on the powers of the MMDC. The structure. The Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a high time to change district development facility. Mr. Speaker, is controlled by the MMDC. The district development facility from controlled by the natural resources within the community is controlled by the MMDC. Natural resources within the community funds is controlled by the MMDC. The vicinity. The funds they collect within the vicinity is controlled, the IGF is controlled by the MMDC. And therefore, the MP is incapacitated financially. Where the money is, that is where I have the power. So, I'll add my voice to the call from honorable member for us to go back and make sure that the MMDCs are elected so that they will be more accountable and responsible to the people within their vicinities. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, leadership.
Speaker, I think it will not be out of place if I commend you highly for your decision to admit the statement in the wake of the fact that yesterday you had to defer it today because of a matter that you had to deal with. I want to commend you for having held on to the faith and ensure that this statement is delivered today. Let me proceed further to commend my friend, my good friend, the Honorable Ajiman, who I must say that he had earlier spoken to me about this matter and the decision to present it in the form of a statement. Speaker, I don't wish to repeat many of the contributions that earlier speakers have alluded to, but just to reference what Dr. Afo said. Let's not get it wrong. Nobody is drawing a coalition course between present MMDCs and MPs. That is not the intent of the statement. And at this time and age, people often draw hasty conclusions. We are not fighting MMDC. We think that since the 80s, we've practiced a system, a decentralization system from the 80s all up to this time. And the experts say that change is a constant. And humans, we can't remain and say that the passage of time we won't change. Because it has become important. As because I have engaged you personally on same matter, and you have reverted our minds to the fear about the appointing authority losing its powers. Appointing authority losing its powers. We can take all these concerns, varied concern, in good stride and take a patriotic position as a country. For me, few observations. The confirmation of MMDCs, even though largely has been smooth, there have been a number of violent-prone areas and incidents all over the country. Just a simple exercise of going to vote on MMDCs degenerates and creates security concerns. So that must be dealt with. And I think one of the processes that can be used is the election of MMDCs. It will also reduce the tension, the needless tension between MMDCs and MPs. Our roles are defined. Significantly different roles. We play our roles as a legislative arm of government. They have their roles to play. Yet, we are almost at each other's throats. Needless. We can borrow, and there are genuine fears. People make the fears that, well, if we do it, the minority will be controlling certain portions of the country, and the country will be divided. It's neither here nor there. That will reflect the will of the people. If it is the will of the people that a certain person should occupy the MMDC position, you can't change it. You can't change it. Why is it that the MPs are elected? We are ex-officio members of the assembly. The MPs are elected. The assembly members who go to confirm the nominees are also elected. I see my colleague, the Honorable Fossa, is here. I'm sure Mr. Speaker knows you very well. Don't worry, he will recognize you, don't worry. Mr. Speaker will surely recognize you. So, the assemblymen are elected, MPs are elected, and it's only the MMDCs that it happens that a small section of people go and vote for them. Because I think it's high time we open up this matter and ensure that now you have 2/3. You have said that, the last speaker said that the Honorable His Excellency the President is fulfilling all his promises. Now you have 2/3. Go ahead and amend the constitution and ensure that MMDCs are elected. Don't wait for anybody. You don't even need us to do it. Go ahead and do it. You may not even need us. 2/3, you can do it. Because on a more serious note, I want to plead that this matter shouldn't just be subjected to normal lamentations and we go home and sleep. Speaker, let's sustain the conversation for some time to come. And to that end, I want to employ and plead for your wisdom, for probably some consequential directives. The local government committee is a very active committee. The minister we know as a very experienced member of parliament, Nabu Ahmed, has been in leadership for all this while. He's also passionate about this matter. Then we can follow through to this matter all to its logical conclusion. As a nation, we need to depart from what is happening currently and help in fomenting our local governance structure. So having said this, Speaker, I also want to plead. I know you have got into leadership. The Honorable Kosa is here, if it pleases you. He was immediate past Minister for Local Government, if we can hear from him as well. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Kosa. Let me give him the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me commend the maker of the statement for bringing this matter to the fore. Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief in my remarks. I just want to put on record that if there is any policy or any issue that has a meeting of mind from both sides of the political divide, it is the issue of the election of MMDC. Mr. Speaker, we may recall that the past government took up this policy and did various efforts to be able to have pushed us to the election of MMDCs. Though all the two parties agreed to the election, the point of departure was whether or not it should be on partisan basis. Somehow we need to put a decision and make a move. It's an issue that is long overdue, and its implementation would ensure that we move our local governance system a step forward in shaping it and making it better for our national governance program. Given that the current government has overwhelming numbers to make this happen, and being committed to it at least in the 2020 manifesto and 2024, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the way is very clear for our friends in government to make do with this policy. And we on this side of the divide are ever ready to give government every support. And we count on them. I believe that this conversation should trigger some roadmap that we can immediately put in place and ensure that we make our governance at the local level better by adopting this move. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Former Minister. Yes, Honorable Richard Achampong.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to add my voice to the call by the honorable colleague for members or the country to take a decision to elect our MMDCs. Mr. Speaker, you can say that in principle, all political parties do agree that we should elect our MMDCs. But when you are in opposition, you feel it better than in government. Because always there's a tough war between the MPs and the MMDCs. So right now, we thank God that the Constitutional Review Committee is working. So let's come together, put up the proposal, what we want them to do, so that they incorporate our views, so that by the end of the day, Ghanaians will take a decision, so we'll see the pathway. Because we've read these issues over and over and over, but there's no resolution to this matter. Other people are saying the president should nominate 3 people, present them to Public Service Commission, vet them and present them for elections. And the president should retain the power to sack those people. Because if he's appointing, he must have the power to also sack them. But another school of thought is also saying, if you present the candidate for the people to elect them, if you want to sack the person, give them the power to put in a petition so that based on the findings, that person is sacked. These are the controversies around all these things. So let's try to fashion out a modality which will work for all of us. Because if you're an MP and you're not on good terms with the DCE, giving the mere instruction will never solve any problem. Because the DCE himself is interested to unseat you. So the resources that goes to the DCE, he will use that resource to undermine the work of the MP. So let's have a pathway. How do you want to achieve it? Free for all, so everybody can pick a form, contest elections, and win, and become the DCE. But people are also saying the person is representing the central government or the president at the local level. So if the person is not aligned with the visions and ambitions of the president, the DCE will sabotage the work of the president of the day. So by the end of the day, like we are trying to do this time around, we are sending about 80% of the resources to the local assembly for development. And this is a DCE elected by the people who is coming from a different political party, who is refusing to implement the policies and programs of the government of the day. How can the government achieve its set goals and objectives? So these are some of the areas we need to explore and develop it well. So that by the end of the day, if the person is elected, there may be some monitoring system put in place to check whoever is appointed or elected. When it comes to security, the person is in charge of dissect. The president will be visiting the constituencies or the district. Who is going to provide security for the president if the person is not in the same government with the government of the day? So these are some of the things. National security is there, but you know what people can also do.
Honorable Richard Achampong, please address me.
Mr. Speaker, for example, if you come to the president visits via East, the residents of the DCE will accommodate the president. And this DCE belongs to a Kradonko party. I'm talking about a situation where you don't have any other means than to host the president. Even drinking water becomes a challenge. No, we are dealing with human beings. And I'm not shutting the door. But let's think around all these things so that we can fashion up a roadmap as to how to proceed. Either free for all, or the president will appoint 3 people, present them to. So, Mr. Speaker, I think the committee is working. We can make an input so that by the end of the day, there will be sanity, we'll get value for money, and people will be responsible because they have been voted for. If they don't discharge their duties well, they know the people can vote against them the next day. Like members of parliament, every 4 years, you subject yourself to the people for re-election. So if you don't conduct yourself well, by the end of the day, they will punish you through the ballot box. So I think it's a good call, but let's see how we navigate all this path so that by the end of the day, we'll get to know that people are given resources to work, they are responsible, and we can also go to sleep that there's no mischief. Nobody is going to undermine the work of the government of the day. It's not by NDC or MPP. After 20, 30 years, MPP will come to power. The same thing will come to play. The same thing will come to play. So let's try to see how we navigate this. So by the end of the day, we will stop the talking and we'll move to real action. Because we've been lamenting over this over and over and over. Let's come together. Let's present a paper to the commission so that they will incorporate it, and then the implementation will come to all of us. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Richard Achampong. Honorable members, as a member of Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee at the material time that the Constitutional Amendment Bill came before this House and rising to become the immediate past ranking member of Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, I think it is important to add my voice to the statement ably made by Honorable Nana Ajima. Honorable members, we normally talk about this issue, election of the district chief executives or MMDCs, looking at Article 243(1). We don't look at Article 243 in a whole and relate it to the challenges in amending the Constitution at the material time. Honourable members, on this issue, both the minority and the majority at all material time are in support of the MMDCs being elected. You can even see it from the contribution of members on this particular statement. I recall when they came to amend the Constitution, they introduced the bill. But before the second reading, at the committee meeting, there were two challenges. One was the modality in electing the MMDCs so that it doesn't pose a problem that Richard Achampon mentioned. But the consolation was that the districts or the MMDCs, once they are in charge of the district assembly, and the district assembly is supposed to be politically neutral, that may not be a major issue. What came before us was to amend Article 243(1). However, if you amend Article 243(1) without amending Article 243(3), there will be a challenge. Because as we speak, the constitutional imperative currently is that the MMDC must be nominated by the president and confirmed by the assembly members by a vote of 2/3 majority. Thereafter, the president will appoint them. The president then becomes the appointing authority. In view of that, Article 243 gives the power to the president to revoke the appointment of the district chief executive. Honourable members, let's look at it together. The office of the district chief executive shall become vacant if a vote of no confidence, supported by a vote of not less than 2/3 of all the members of the district assembly, is passed against him. 2, he is removed from office by the president, or he resigns or dies. Honourable members, we can better understand this if you look at Article 249 of the Constitution. It states, subject to a procedure established by law, the mandate of a member of the district assembly may be revoked by the electorate or the appointing authority. Now, we have two categories of the assembly members: the elected members and the appointed members. So for the elected members, their appointment can be revoked by the electorate. Then those appointed, it can be revoked by the appointing authority. Now when you take away the power of appointment to give it to the electorate, why then would a district chief executive elected by the people be removed from office by the President of the Republic of Ghana? Then that really poses a challenge, because an ordinary member of the assembly elected by the people can only be removed from office by the electorate. So if the district chief executive is elected, why should the president have the power to remove that chief executive from office? So the view is that the power to remove such a person should be given to the electorate. And a second reading, we realize that unless Article 243 of the Constitution is amended in a whole, we may not be solving the problem that we really want to solve. All members, we agree that they need to be elected. As we speak, in the eyes of the general public, when they talk of it is you, the MPs, we, the MPs, the public is of the view that we are responsible. But in reality, and by the formula that we've been approving, it is the MMDCs that control that particular fund. It is only 5% that is distributed among the members of parliament. And even that, it doesn't go to them directly. It is paid into a designated account at the assembly. And unless and until that district chief executive signs the disbursement form, no money can come from that particular account. So sometimes it gives me much interest as how a lecture in metaphysics will give to a child of 10 years when they are expecting you to account for money that you don't control. You are not a signatory to the check of that 5%. They even ask you to account for the common fund. Most people do not know that it is only 5% that is distributed among members of parliament, and all that you can do as a member of parliament is to write to them to refer to the formula for the usage and see whether they can drill a borehole in this community or renovate a classroom structure in this community. That is the limit of your responsibility. I will urge the media to help us educate the general public that when we talk about the common fund, it goes to the assembly 100%. It's only 5% distributed among members of parliament that you can authorize projects to be executed by it. Today, if there is a project need in your constituency, without talking to the district chief executive, you receive a call from the media that there is a challenge in this constituency. What are you doing about it? And what can your 5% do? They will leave somebody who controls the 80% and be talking to you who controls only 5%. And even that 5%, you cannot sign the check. If you even ask them that, have you spoken to my district chief executive on this project? Hey, you have a problem. So I think we owe it as a duty to carry the public along so that they will agree with us that the only way the district chief executive can really be accountable is when they are elected. Then they can be accountable to the people. Excuse me to say that there are some people that you even expect them to know that when it comes to issues of DDF, you don't even come in. The District Development Fund, you don't even come in at all. But because of the 5% of the common fund distributed, they call you on district development project instead of speaking to the district chief executive. So, honorable members, I believe we are all at it Eden that the constitution should be amended and Article 243 to be looked at as a whole, so that we really give effect to the meaning and the sense that we want to realize from amending the constitution in order to allow the MMDCs to be elected. Honorable members, it is true that it is in the 2024 manifesto of the NDC that the constitution should be amended to give way to the MMDCs to be elected. But as you know, a constitutional review committee has been put in place. They are looking at the recommendations of the FIAJO Constitutional Review Committee, and they will also come out with a holistic proposal as to the various provisions in the Constitution that has to be amended in order to bring it up to date, because our Constitution is 30 years. The issue therefore is, do we want the Constitution to be amended in pieces, or we want the amendment to be done in a whole? I believe strongly that the chairperson of the Constitutional Review Committee, Professor Prempre, would listen to us. The members of the committee will also listen to us, and they will take into consideration any proposed amendment to Article 243 of the Constitution, so that we can all give effect to electing the MMDCs. I believe when this is done, it will ease pressure. The public will then be aware when there is a need for development. They will know what to or who to talk to directly. Honourable members, there is this issue that I want to use the opportunity to explain. When it gets to election, because the MMDCs are not elected, you, the MP, in campaigning, you carry your party manifesto. And that is your party manifesto's promise, that when my government comes to power, we will do A, B, C, D. It is you who carries the manifesto. But when it comes to the implementation of the manifesto, the resources for the implementation of the manifesto is rather sent directly to the assembly. So you are confronted with the challenge of you telling them that your classroom will be renovated. However, the resources is not given to you to do the renovation, but rather it is the MMDCs who are not elected who have control over the resources. I think we need to do a bit of public education and really carry the public along, because to them, once it is you who carry the manifesto and they have elected you, they are expecting you to come and do the project irrespective of whoever controls the resources. So, honourable members, I think we can come together and ensure that the needed constitutional provisions are amended, for giving me this opportunity to also add my voice to the statement ably made by Nana Ajimai. Honourable members, we also have another statement standing in the name of Honourable Nelson Kofi Jaba, MP for Kratchi East constituency, on the price modification in response to the cedi appreciation against the major trading currency. Honourable member, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this great opportunity to bring to the attention of this august House a matter of great concern to the Ghanaian, especially the consuming public. The situation at hand is significant appreciation of the Ghana cedi against the major trading currencies, while prices of goods and services remain largely unchanged. Mr. Speaker, the Ghanaian cedi has long been characterized by persistent volatility, often undermining economic stability and investor confidence. For years, the currency has been on a steady downward trajectory against major international currencies such as the US dollar, British pound, euro, and Japanese yen. In 2024 fiscal year, Mr. Speaker, the cedi was ranked among the 4 worst performing currencies in the sub-Saharan Africa, according to Bloomberg and the World Bank report in August and October respectively. In November 2024, the cedi depreciated by 3.95% against the dollar, making a cumulative decline of nearly bore the brunt of the impact, as the rising cost of living significantly diminishes household purchasing power. Mr. Speaker, currently the Ghanaian cedi has demonstrated a remarkable turnaround, shifting from one of the sub-Saharan Africans' worst performing currency in 2024 to the best performing currency globally in 2025. In the year May 2021, in 21st May 2025, the cedi had appreciated against all the currencies by 24% against the US dollar, 16.2% against the British pound, and 14.1% against the euro, according to the Bank of Ghana reports. Mr. Speaker, headline inflation has declined consecutively in the first 4 months of the year by 2.6%, points to 21.2% in April, down from 23.5%, 23.1%, and 22.4% in January, February, and March, respectively. Food inflation has declined to 25% from 26%, while non-food inflation has dropped to 17.9% from 18.7%. It is anticipated that inflation could fall to 12% by the end of 2025. Mr. Speaker, prices of petroleum products have witnessed the biggest decline at the pump since May 16, 2025. Petrol and diesel are now selling for 13.27 cedis and 14.40 cedis per liter, respectively. Transportation fares has been reduced by 15% since 24th May 2025. These reliefs are born out of a result of the Bank of Ghana and government's prudent fiscal operations to confront economic challenges in the country. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the cedi appreciation, decline of inflation, reduction of transport fares, and decline of petroleum prices, food and non-food prices remain largely unchanged, which the consuming public are greatly dissatisfied with. If the cedi's depreciation warranted prices increases in the past, it is only fair and just that its appreciation leads to corresponding price reductions. This is not only a matter but also of social equity and consumer protection. The upward trend should translate into lower prices of goods and services, similar to how fuel prices and transportation fares have been reduced. The currency stability should benefit consumers, thus there should be some relief to the consuming public. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry has assured consumers of price reductions in the cost of goods and services in the next 60 days. However, it remains prudent for Parliament as a major arm of government to call on the trading community to adjust their prices in response to the current appreciation of the Ghana cedi against the other major trading currencies. Mr. Speaker, therefore, I humbly call on the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, and all relevant stakeholder groups within the supply chain, including importers, wholesalers, resellers, and market associations, to act in good faith and reflect the current economic realities in their price mechanisms. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the opportunity granted me, and I salute the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, Ministry of
We made an AI content authenticity tool.
And all stakeholders.
Simply install the extension, enable scanning, then hover over any image for fast results.
I urge this House to lend its voice in calling for transparency and fairness in market practices. Let us ensure that the gains from the currency's appreciation are not limited to macroeconomic indicators, but are felt directly by the ordinary Ghanaian. We owe it to our constituents to advocate for responsive and equitable market places. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Pick, prep, paint. Pick, prep, paint. Pick, prep, and paint. City Paint. Transform your space with colors and more.
Tell you what's up, no good done. Your hustle, I grab a Charlie. Tell you what's up, enjoy the ride.
Yo, madam, madam, may apply lances for home. That's also forestry commission. Land may apply lances for home. Forestry commission. Forestry land commission. Mines for home. And then we are custodian. We are responsible. We share into home. And then we are custodian. We are responsible. We share and don't know what that. And that's we be a tomorrow or near insurance. And
I'm moving about Cocoa Board, any company, Hallmark dealings with.
No. Cocoa Board. And yet, no credit. Some Cocoa Board for city. Obia no so no aqua roader, and you're buying a mouse car. And your woman now do sika at the contractor. No, when I do sika, but call now the aqua road. We are now highways for the Cocoa Board for no. Omo engineers about the value a year road now wire. Now omo the boa rate omo the ma or no omo the atoso a free BB certificate no marriage. Many Cocoa Board for contracts. Ne will say 28 days they should pay me. But ye raise it take about 3 years and say no mutuami. So Cocoa Board cannot tell me say now omo ni won to make Obia no so obeye ketu obeye kesi o na paso. So obia no kwakoye adwuma de. Me dwen say adwuma nya de a eye bone. Madam ase.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no. Yes, sir. I feel like my money. You know,
But on that, a chama kind of what you should also.
No. Allegations will be in a work if you must say, or Yagalamse, or you want Yagalamse. Any papers or the BBA. And as I will say, I call forest, aqua, yet mining. Also, on call forest, what you are saying to more evidence of my family. I think say, what be no, a DBA, no baby.
All right. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Since morning, I up and down. When
I know I told you more, but the good thing is that police for no, are very professional. What I say? Question be also bisa no bia no. Omo tumi ato no ba say bisa aye bibia aye kama. E do mase. Ya me sure mo.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Jumala.
Chama, how is it going? Chama, bibi yako yeye.
Chama muito vídeo. Right.
That's your name.
Chama, your supporters are away. Won't you say anything to them?
I have a child that has a lot of rash on her skin, a lot of irritations, but since I started using Geisha Black, I can say she's feeling better, she looks better, no more itching, skin looks smoother, and Geisha, I bet you, is the best to use. If you haven't tried Geisha Black yet, you should, because it is helping me and my family.
Until I discovered Geisha Black soap somewhere in 2021. So when I started using it, I realized that my black spots started fading and my skin became clearer. I started having a very good skin and a smooth skin. So far, so good. And I think I'm sticking with Geisha for the rest of my life.